Welcome to Massive Beers. My name is Matt. We do the beer stuff here. Excited for today's jam. That's a dark bottle. You can't read anything on there, can you? Well, I'll tell you. It's from Odd Bird Brewing. Yeah, I dig Odd Bird, but this is a bottle of barrel-aged stout from Odd Bird Brewing. Not something I've had from them before, so I'm super excited to dive into this. I ended up going down there today, picked up a couple different things, and this is the one that I really want to dive into, so we're doing it. Here we go. MORT. This is... Ooh, as I bang my microphone. This is a Imperial Stout aged in Hillock bourbon barrels. 11% alcohol by volume. Brewed in Stockton, New Jersey. Vintage. Doesn't say. Vintage one. This came out in October. It's almost New Year's Day, so we're looking at a couple months on this. And that's all I know. I mean, I talked to the brewer. He told me a lot about the distillery and the barrel. They said the whiskey is quite beautiful. He said it's a wet barrel, so it's quite bourbon forward. We're just going to dive into it and see what's going on. Anyway, bourbon barrel aged Imperial Stout. What was the ABV again? You guys remember, I don't. 11%. Very hard to read label. It's a, well, sure, see if I put it up there, you'll probably be able to see. It's like purple on black, but very dark purple. And it's got that kind of, it's called laid. It's the kind of textured paper. It just, all of that in combination makes it extremely hard to read. Not hating on it. It's a little ominous, a little secretive. Is that a word? Anyway, so yeah, let's do it. Guess what that looks like? That looks like Imperial Stout. Barrel otherwise. The head actually comes off a little bit odd. It's not rich, dark, and brown. It almost has like a tinge of caramel, a tinge of gray to it, to be perfectly honest with you. Don't know if that actually comes off on camera. Not necessarily put off by that, but just don't see a head like that quite often. It's just a rich, dark, brownish, ruby, mahogany kind of beer. If I were to hold it up to my little light here, like that, you'd probably not. You might be able to glean a little bit of the reddishness out of there and stuff like that. Let me go back to here. And yeah, so it looks all the part of a nice rich stout. I'm curious about the nose. Let's see. Yeah, bourbon and vanilla. I mean, that vanilla, I assume, is just straight up barrel, which is absolutely beautiful. And the bourbon here isn't hot. It's powerful. It's rich. It's there. But it's not overpowering. It's definitely a leader in the clubhouse. I would put that barrel maybe a hair behind it, with at least that vanilla that I'm getting. And we're talking strictly aromatics, obviously, at this point. But the beer is closely behind there. Rich, nice malts. Doesn't come off like a overtly bittering stout, like a Russian Imperial Stout, even though we're aromatics now, we'll find out in the taste. It comes off as just a rich, not necessarily milk stout, maybe a sweet stout, just a base Imperial Stout with a nice barrel and bourbon character. Let's dive in. Cheers, y'all. That's bourbon forward. Not in a negative way. A little bit of heat in the back end. Get a little singe in the back of your throat, but not in like a way where it's like hot. To where it's like kind of uncomfortable and kind of disconnecting you from the beer. Just lets you know you're drinking something of high ABV. The stout is actually quite nice. It's a bit more bittering, a bit more roasty toasty. Definitely not Russian Imperial Stout level, but it has this nice roasty toastiness to it. Nice mouthfeel, never going to be confused with being thick and dense. But it's got a nice mouthfeel to it. You know it's a stout-like mouthfeel, but it's not going to, not going to be confused with thick boy status, Florida status level thick. Spirit barrel. Definitely the stars of the show here, at least as far as I'm concerned. But not so much so, I can just keep saying those words, more than the stout, more than the beer itself. So it still retains its beer status. This is not a super duper barrel beer with the beer taking an ultra backseat. The vanilla slash, it's probably leaning more like coconut for me. From that barrel is just like DeVito cutlet, chef's kiss level stuff. It's like that's my favorite part about barrel aged beers. The spirit is great. I like the wood, especially when the higher ABV beers, it can add mouthfeel, but also kind of those tannins can kind of soften some of that sweetness. It is really where it hits me hits me in the soft spots is when it's playing back and forth between that barrel char, which comes to me like you rub like chocolate on charcoal. That's kind of how I describe it personally. And then that combination of marshmallow, vanilla, coconut. Those are the three that usually come to play from a nice, well done whiskey barrel / bourbon barrel. And this one's flirting between vanilla and coconut for me in a very beautiful way, Sakaba-esque kind of way. King of Coconut Son. And it's really, really tasty. I need to know how long this sat in barrels, because I'm curious. I'm very big on the, anything under a year is just not good. You tell me it's in for 6 to 8 months, I'm like, really? That's it? For me, I think, wheelhouse is 3 years, and 2 years is beautiful. 1 is just kind of like, okay. I'm really curious as how long this sat in a barrel, because they haven't been around all that long, And I think you can get the whiskey component here. I don't think you get the vanilla / coconut component without it spending a decent time in the barrel. So I'll have to reach out, or I can actually probably look online. Maybe we'll do that before the end of the review. I don't know why I'm so against going on the internet and looking up information during a review. I think it doesn't really matter all that much. Some people like these to flow quickly. I'm not your guy for that. But, yeah, I mean, as far as the beer goes, if I'm going to sit here and nitpick, mouthfeel, body, bump that up. I would love that to be more. It'd be nicer. I mean, it's 11% too. We're not talking 13, 14 big boy status ABV here. But if it was just a little bit, it's at 10. You want it to just spinal tap that shit to 11 might be great. But as a first barrel-aged offering that I've had from them, I think that's the first one I've reviewed and had. It's really tasty. Curious to see where this ends up with a little bit of time. Not that barrel-aged beers are super long-haul agers for me, but you give it a year or two, I think that little singe in the back, which I don't mind, I dye that off. Maybe it rounds out a little bit of body. Could be something stellar. Yeah, this is really tasty stuff. Really, really good. Really fantastic. I'm glad I picked it up. They had 2 barrel-aged ones. I just wanted to pick up one, and I was like, which one? He's like, MORT. So yeah, I dig it. I think it's quite tasty. If I'm going to sit here and talk about what people might not like about it, it's going to be mouthfeel is probably number 1. The fact that it's not loaded with 37 different adjuncts from Krispy Kreme to pizzas to money, that'd be another one. I don't mind that, but a lot of people, they just need some kind of ridiculous shiny thing thrown into the fermenter in order for it to make sense. And I just think it's tasty, man. I just want to try it in a year. I should have got another bottle, or I should go get another one. So let's see how long it's been in a barrel. See if we can figure that one out. Odd Bird Brewing MORT. There we go. MORT barrel aged. What do we got? Released on Friday the 13th. Our Imperial Stout aged over a year in Hell Rock Solera bourbon barrels. So there you go. Over a year. So 36 days. Unless it's leap year. But no, it's actually, they say MORT has a British malts and an enormous amount of oats. Okay, so it's almost like an oatmeal stout. MORT has a full creamy body without the residual sweetness and come with such a big beer. Nice, nice. They say full creamy body. It is creamy. It's very much oatmeal style. It kind of makes sense. Just doesn't have that thick status to it. But very, very tasty stuff. I'm glad I picked it up. Let's put it that way. Anyway, the internet can go away. No, not you. You stay and watch. I mean me talking about it. So there you go. Is this one of the better barrel-aged stouts that I've had as late? Yes. Mount Rushmore status probably, it falls short of Mount Rushmore status. It's toward the top. But there's just barrel-aged beers that I've had better. You're talking about 4 slots over the past several months. It's a very hard nut to crack. So it's not so much this beer isn't worthy. It's that I've had 4 that I thought were a bit better. Value and availability, $15. Brewery only. Leave you with if you like what we like this. If you like that vanilla coconut combination from your barrel, you will love this. You like your beers to skew a bit bourbon hot. Not an ultra hot beer, but you definitely know it's bourbon forward. And a lot of these beers tend to be either a sweet stout or a Russian Imperial stout. If you like your oatmeal stout, something a little bit more oaty, a little bit more creamier, as they would put it, you'll definitely dig this. So there you go. A review in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Odd Bird, have you been to the brewery? Have you had their beers? What about this beer? Have you had this beer? Please talk to me about it. All that fun stuff down there. So hopefully you enjoyed the review. Hopefully you're enjoying a little bit of Mort right now. Hope to see you next time. Cheers, y'all.